Have you given your child something after retiring, then regretted it later? It's a tough thing to admit, but many parents enter retirement eager to give, whether it's money, time, or responsibility. They offer what they can because they want to support their children, stay connected, and be helpful. But the truth is, not every gift is good. Some things once given can't be taken back. And when they're handed over too soon or without the right boundaries, they can leave you feeling empty, overlooked, or quietly resentful. In this video, we're going to walk through 7 things you should never give your child after retirement, not because you don't love them, but because you want to protect your peace, your independence, and your long-term well-being. These are the kinds of decisions that can seem small in the moment, but turn into long-term regrets when reality sets in. Stay with us until the end, because you'll not only learn what to hold on to, but also how to set healthy limits that strengthen your relationships, instead of straining them. If you're already retired or planning to be soon, this could save you years of heartache and help you feel more secure in the life you've worked so hard to build. Let's get started. Number 1. Your retirement savings, one of the most generous but most dangerous gifts you can give your child. After retirement is access to your savings. It often starts with good intentions. Maybe your child is going through a tough time financially, or they need help buying a home or paying off debt. You think, I have enough and they need it more than I do. But here's the truth. Most people don't say out loud once your retirement money leaves your hands. It rarely comes back, and when it's gone, you're the one left vulnerable. Your retirement savings weren't built overnight. They came from years, decades of showing up, working hard, making sacrifices. That money isn't just currency. It's protection, it's peace of mind. It's what allows you to handle emergencies without panic, to enjoy life without guilt, and to age without fear of becoming a financial burden on someone else. What many parents underestimate is how fast unexpected expenses can show up in retirement. Medical costs, home repairs, long-term care. These things don't wait until you're ready, and they often cost far more than people expect. If you've already given large chunks of your savings to help your child, you may find yourself in a position where you have to ask for help, something that can feel deeply uncomfortable when you thought you'd secured your future. There's also the emotional weight that can follow. Even if your child was thankful, even if they promised to pay you back, the dynamic changes. You might hesitate to say no next time, or you might feel unspoken pressure to keep helping even when it starts hurting you over time. That imbalance can quietly chip away at your dignity and at the relationship itself. And here's the thing. Your children have more time to rebuild than you do. They're still working, still earning, still climbing. You, on the other hand, are in the phase of life where your focus should be on enjoying the years you've earned, not worrying about how to cover next month's bills. Helping your child isn't wrong, but it must come with clear limits. A one-time gift is very different from an open wallet. If you do choose to help, make sure it's an amount you can afford to never see again. And most importantly, never give away your financial safety net. Because once it's gone, it's not your child who will feel the impact first. It's you. Number 2, ownership of your home. There's a common belief among retirees that putting the house in the child's name is a smart, generous thing to do. You may think you're protecting your child from future inheritance taxes or just trying to simplify things for when you're gone. But giving away ownership of your home while you're still alive is one of the most misunderstood and risky decisions a parent can make, and it's one that too many come to regret. Your home isn't just a structure, it's your anchor. It's the place where you feel safe, where your routines are set, where you've built decades of memories. And once your name is no longer on the title, you no longer have control over it legally, emotionally, and practically. You've handed over your security. What happens if your child runs into financial trouble and the house gets tied up in a lawsuit, or worse, is lost in bankruptcy? What if they get divorced, and suddenly your home becomes part of a messy legal battle you never saw coming? What if your child simply makes decisions about the property that you don't agree with, like selling it, renting it out, or moving someone else in? These are not rare scenarios. They happen more often than people realize. And once your name is off that deed, your power to stop any of it disappears. Even if your child is trustworthy and loving, life changes, their needs shift. Their financial picture may get complicated, and what was once your home can become something you no longer fully belong to. That sense of control, of agency, of being able to say, "This is mine, and I decide what happens here." Once that's gone, it's incredibly difficult to get back. And here's something that surprises many. In some cases, transferring your home can actually create tax problems or affect your eligibility for long-term care benefits. What you thought was a protective move can turn into a bureaucratic headache or a financial trap that ends up hurting both you and your child. There are safer, smarter ways to plan for the future, methods that still allow your child to inherit the home later on, but without you giving up control during your lifetime. A trust, a life estate, or simply a clear will with legal guidance can accomplish the same goal with far less risk. Your home is more than property. It's your foundation, and after retirement, your foundation should never be something you give away just to keep the peace. Speed things up or do what everyone else does, because once it's out of your hands, you may not get to decide how the rest of your life unfolds within it. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 3, full control over your medical or financial decisions. One of the most sensitive areas where many retirees give too much away too soon is in handing over full legal control, like power of attorney or financial authority. Without clear boundaries, it often starts with trust. You believe your child will always have your best interest at heart, and you want to make things easier just in case. But when full control is given too early or too loosely, it can lead to consequences that are hard to undo. Power of attorney is important. It allows someone to make decisions on your behalf if you're ever unable to. But here's what many people don't realize. Once that power is granted, it can be used at any time, not just in an emergency. That means your child could access your accounts, make financial moves, or speak on your behalf with doctors, even if you're still fully capable. In most cases, it's done with love and care, but not always. And even when intentions are good, misunderstandings happen. You might say, "I want to hold off on this procedure," only to find out a medical decision was made on your behalf, or you may discover transactions you didn't approve. Money shifted around, bills paid without your knowledge, investments moved. It's not always malicious, but once someone has that authority, it's easy for things to slip out of your hands. The emotional cost can be just as high. When you no longer feel like you're the one making your own choices about your health, your money, your future, it can erode your confidence and independence. You may begin to question whether your opinions matter, or worse, you might stop speaking up altogether. That's not a position any parent should find themselves in, especially after a lifetime of managing your own life. If you do choose to give your child legal authority, do it carefully. Put limits in place. Talk to a lawyer who can help structure it in a way that protects you. Not just them, you can grant powers that only activate under specific conditions, like a confirmed medical incapacity. You can also choose to split responsibilities so no one person has full control. These aren't easy conversations, but they're necessary ones. You deserve to be protected without being overruled. You deserve support without surrendering control. And your child, if they truly care, will understand the need for balance. Because this isn't about mistrust, it's about wisdom. You've spent a lifetime making decisions. Retirement is not the time to hand over the steering wheel entirely. It's the time to put safeguards in place, so your voice remains the one guiding your journey every step of the way. Number 4, your role as a constant babysitter after retirement. One of the most common traps older adults fall into is becoming the family's full-time unpaid babysitter. It often begins with love. Watching the grandkids for a few hours here and there, helping out in a pinch, filling in when daycare falls through. And at first it feels good. You feel needed, useful, even honored to spend time with them, but over time that occasional help can turn into an expectation, then into a routine, and finally into a quiet obligation. You never fully agreed to what makes this so tricky, is that it doesn't always feel like you're giving something away. But what you are giving sometimes without realizing, it is your time, your freedom, your energy, and your chance to enjoy retirement on you. Our own terms slowly. Your calendar stops being your own. Your days are shaped by nap schedules, pickups, drop-offs, and meals that aren't even for you. You might not resent it right away, but eventually, the weight of always being on call can start to wear you down. And what's worse, saying no later becomes harder, because by then your child has grown used to the help the family rhythm has adjusted around your availability. So when you finally do want a break, or you say you're too tired, or you make plans for yourself, it may come as a surprise or even a disappointment. That's not your fault. That's the result of unclear boundaries that were never talked about at the start. Retirement isn't a free-for-all of time. It's the reward for decades of effort, and it's supposed to be yours. That doesn't mean you can't help it. Means you get to decide how much, when, and under what conditions. Watching your grandkids should be a joy, not a job. It should feel like a choice, not an assignment. If it doesn't, then something needs to be rebalanced. Children may not realize how demanding full-time caregiving is. They might assume you're retired, so you must have the time. But time and energy are not the same thing as you age. You need more rest, more self-care, more space to enjoy the life you built, and it's okay to protect that. It's not selfish, it's healthy. The best relationships between parents and adult children are built on mutual respect, not silent sacrifice. If you want to help with the grandkids, do it with joy and clear boundaries set. Days set, times, say no when you need to, and never feel guilty for choosing to spend a day, a weekend, or even a month focused on your own plans. Because when you guard your time, your energy, and your freedom, you're not just protecting yourself, you're modeling something powerful for your children and grandchildren. The importance of self-respect. Even in love. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5. The burden of your debt. One of the most painful legacies you can unintentionally leave behind is debt, especially when it passes directly to your children. You may think it's my responsibility, I'll deal with it. And most of the time that's true. But depending on how accounts are structured, especially with co-sign loans, shared credit, or inherited obligations, your child may end up legally or emotionally burdened by debts they never agreed to carry. Let's start with something that happens more often than people realize. Co-signing. You might have put your child on a credit card or car loan years ago to help them qualify. Or maybe they co-signed something for you out of love. But once both names are on the account, that debt becomes shared if you become ill, lose track of payments, or pass away without clearing the balance. The financial and legal weight shifts to them immediately, and sometimes without warning. Even in cases where your child isn't legally responsible, the emotional strain can be just as heavy. Sorting through bills, notices, and creditors after a parent's death or decline can feel overwhelming and frankly unfair instead of focusing on memories or closure. They're forced into a stressful tangle of paperwork and financial cleanup, and if your finances weren't clearly organized, that confusion can turn into tension between siblings, spouses, or even with themselves. Another overlooked burden is medical debt. You might think it disappears after death, but depending on state laws and how your assets are handled, outstanding balances can affect your estate and delay anything you hope to leave behind: a home, a savings account, Even sentimental valuables can get tied up while debts are resolved, and all of it falls on the shoulders of the people you love. What makes this so hard is that debt often carries shame. You may not want to talk about it. You may feel embarrassed, but silence only makes it worse. The earlier you get honest about your financial situation with yourself and with a trusted advisor, the more you can do to reduce the long-term impact on your child. There are steps you can take. Now avoid adding anyone to your accounts, unless absolutely necessary. Cancel unused credit lines, make a plan to pay off or consolidate what you owe, and perhaps most importantly, leave behind clear instructions so your child knows what exists, what's been handled, and what to do next. You don't owe your child a perfect financial legacy, but you do owe yourself the chance to release them from hidden burdens. They didn't sign up for the fewer loose ends you leave. The lighter their load will be, and the more peace you'll both have. You gave them life support and love. Don't unknowingly give them the stress of untangled debt. To clean it up now, not for their sake alone, but for yours. Number 6. Control over your living arrangements. One of the most subtle, yet deeply impactful ways people lose their independence after retirement is by surrendering control over where and how they live. It can start with a well-meaning suggestion from a child. Why don't you move closer to us, or wouldn't it be easier if you just lived with us? And on the surface it sounds thoughtful, even comforting. But what often goes unspoken is how quickly that arrangement can erode your sense of freedom, dignity, and choice. When you give your child full say over your living space, you also give up control over your daily rhythms. You might find yourself adjusting to their routines, their expectations, their home dynamics. Maybe your favorite chair doesn't fit. Maybe you feel awkward walking into the kitchen. Maybe you start asking permission to do things you've done freely for decades. That sense of home where you can just be yourself can quietly disappear. Even moving into a home they choose for you. An apartment, a retirement community, even an assisted living center can feel like a loss when it's not a decision you made yourself. You may nod in agreement at first, trying to avoid being a burden, but as the weeks go on, you may notice a quiet sadness creeping in. You miss your old garden, your neighbors, your independence, and sometimes your child doesn't even realize what they took away. They thought they were helping, but the cost to your identity can be enormous. This isn't about rejecting help. It's about protecting your voice. You have every right to decide where you live, how you decorate, who visits, and what routines shape your day. Even if you need physical support, you still deserve emotional agency. Your home, whether big or small, private or shared, should reflect your choices, not just your limitations, and the danger of handing over that control isn't always immediate. At first things may seem fine, but then you find yourself avoiding conflict, staying quiet when something bothers you, or feeling like a guest in your own life. That's not peace, that's quiet. Resentment, and over time, it eats away at your confidence. If living with your child works for both of you and was your decision, wonderful. But if it was a choice made for you, not by you, it may be time to revisit the conversation. You're allowed to set boundaries. You're allowed to say, I'd rather stay in my own place, or I want to explore different options. And you don't have to justify that you've earned it. Living arrangements should be supportive, not suffocating. They should honor who you are, not just what you need. Because after all the years you spent building your life, you deserve a space where you still feel like yourself, fully, freely, and without a pause. Logi, if you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 7, your peace of mind. This last one isn't about money or things. It's not about where you live or what you give. It's about your inner world, your calm, your sleep, your ability to look out the window in the morning and feel at peace with your life. Too often after retirement, people hand that over without even realizing it. and the main way they do it by taking on their children's problems as their own. You may think you're just being a good parent, listening, helping, stepping in when they're struggling, but there's a line between being supportive and being consumed. When you carry your adult child's stress, their arguments, their debts, their drama, you slowly trade your own peace for their chaos, and after a while you start waking up tired. Not because of your age, but because your mind never got to rest. Peace of mind in your later years is something you earn. You worked for it. You endured enough. You're allowed to be free from daily worry, but it takes boundaries to protect it. You can love your child deeply and still say, "This is something you need to figure out." You can care without fixing. You can support without sacrificing your own emotional well-being. Some people feel guilty doing that. But guilt is often just love that doesn't know how to protect itself. And the truth is, you're not helping your child grow by absorbing all their pain. You may actually be keeping them from developing the strength they need to navigate life on their own. There's a kind of wisdom that comes in old age, when you realize that not every phone call needs to be answered right away. Not every problem is yours to solve, and not every tear should become your burden. That doesn't make you cold. It makes you centered. It makes you someone who chooses peace, not passivity after retirement. Your peace of mind should be non-negotiable and never ever feel bad for keeping it close. Because if there's one thing that can't be bought, replaced, or rebuilt, it's that quiet, steady sense of being okay, no matter what's happening outside of you. That's your legacy too. Final thoughts. As we wrap up today's video, I want to leave you with something important. Retirement isn't just about stopping work. It's about starting a new chapter that belongs to you. But too often, in trying to be a good parent, we give away more than we should. And sometimes we don't realize the cost until it's too late. These 7 things: your home, your time, your savings, your freedom, your debt, your health, and your peace are more than just items on a list. They're the foundation of your independence, your happiness, and your dignity in this season of life. And once they're gone, it's hard to get them back. That doesn't mean you stop loving your children. It means you start loving yourself too. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's smart. And the more you honor your needs, the more you model strength, wisdom, and resilience. The very things your children will one day need to carry for themselves. Retirement is a gift, but only if you protect it. So don't feel guilty for saying no. Don't feel bad for choosing peace. You've earned the right to live these years on your terms. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today, and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoy this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.